Welcome back to the Captain's Quadrant. I'm Joe Dove, joining me as always, VHS Jess, and we are back with section 31 and a half because we have questions, and we are honored to have Tara Rosling with us in section 31 and a half. How are you? And welcome to our quirky little space in the internet.
I'm great. Thank you very much. And thank you. Yeah.
Oh,
And you even pronounced my name correctly. So.
Oh, hey, I'm terrible at that. I just get his name wrong a little bit.
Most
So
people say Tara.
So good about that. So
what alterations do you have then? What do they call you?
Yeah.
Tara.
Tara.
And I always argue that Tara should be spelled Terra, like terra firma.
Oh, yes. That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to kick us off. Of course, you were Torino on the amazing Star Trek Discovery series. And I've also seen you in a lot of different sci-fi genres. As a young man, I remember seeing you in Highlander the Raven.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
I have a good story about that one.
Oh, I'd love to hear that. We'll start with that.
No, I mean it's a short story, but the lead on the show, there was a fight scene, and she accidentally punched me in the head.
Oh, wow!
And then I promptly had like a dozen roses delivered to my trailer.
I would think so, Adam. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was a wild shoot, but it was fun because in that episode, I think my character also went up in a chopper. I got to fly in a helicopter, which was really, really fun.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
All right, I have to ask the stupid question. Did somebody go, get to the chopper? No,
they should have hired you to do that.
Oh man. But I'm just curious, what was the draw for you to take the role as Tarina, as a Vulcan, so stoic and...
I mean, there wasn't. I think as actors, we're always looking to work. So initially, like when I auditioned, I didn't even know she was a Vulcan. I didn't know she was a president. I've told this story a few times, but the agent calls and you've got less than 24 hours to do a self-tape for something called Tennessee Honey, which is the code name that season for the show. Every season, Star Trek Discovery had a different code name. I suspect all of the Star Treks go under code names. And in the sides that I was given, she was an admiral. And then it wasn't until I actually got the script. So not even when I booked the part, but when I finally got a copy of the script, which was maybe I'm going to say we had a bit extra time because sometimes you have very little prep time. Right. But I think I got the script 2 weeks before we went to camera, and I was like, oh wow, oh, she's a Vulcan, oh cool. And then oh my god, I'm a president, oh wow. Like it was there was a lot of surprises as I went through the script. Another surprise being how like she had a fair bit to do in that first episode. So I had a lot of text to get under my belt. I'm not like Sonequa, who can kind of look at a script and retain it.
Oh, wow.
I think it's partially my theater background where I have to know it inside and out.
Yeah.
Because I've done a fair bit of camera work, but not a ton. And my body still doesn't trust or understand the notion of stopping and starting again. Like if you fumble a line or you get another take, I'm like, no, man, you got to get through it. Like that's your job, is to get through the text without muffing it up. So, yeah.
And there's always a little bit of techno babble in there somewhere, isn't there? I mean, Star Trek dialogue could
it's like a doctor show, right? That kind of thing where there's always some kind of jargon that you're trying to learn words that you've never heard before. So that definitely increases the challenge.
Yeah. When it just kind of leads on to what the Joe's question was. Once you got the role, and I believe it was season 3 you first appeared. Is that correct?
Yeah, they introduced her. They introduced Trina in season 3. I think it was 6 or 7.
Right.
And then they brought her back. It was supposed to be a one-off, and then they brought her back for just like 2 seconds of the finale.
Yeah.
And that was all that I knew of it. And it wasn't until like they didn't tell me that they were writing her into season 4, and it wasn't until they started shooting, because they employed me as a day player, not as a regular.
Oh, okay.
Damn them.
Yeah. Well, that was my question, whether they had at some point sat you down and said, look, this is the arc of the season. This is how we're. Well, they hit that well then, didn't they? Because it seemed like that's what's happened, where they've mapped out this whole thing with you from a character.
I wish they had. The story that Doug tells is that, like, when we shot that first episode, we were intrigued by the dynamic between Trina and Saru. And I think Doug was kind of like, oh, I wonder, maybe this has some potential to go somewhere. And that he, in fact, approached Michelle, the showrunner, and suggested, and she's like, oh, that hadn't occurred to me, and that's where they left it. And then, all the regular characters do have that chat with the showrunner before they go to camera for the beginning of the season. And I think Doug was told at that point that he'd be very happy with how they were going to continue the relationship between the two of them. But all I got was my agent calling me and said, you've been pinned for 402. You've been pinned for 403, which isn't even a booking. That's just like they're putting you on hold. Yeah. And that turned into 9 episodes of season 4. But I knew nothing out the gate. Like, I had no idea. So it was an amazing gift. But by the same token, I was like, would have been nice to have a bit of a heads up.
Yeah. Yeah. And you would have been filming that overtime, correct?
Yeah.
So that would have been an extra layer. Like, when it would be really nice to have security. You were probably filming it in a very
depends on what
period.
The agent can negotiate for you. Certainly, like, I would never get what the U.S. leads get in terms of, like, I couldn't even guess what they're being paid episodically. But yeah, they were getting their money's worth using me as a day player. 100%.
It's really fascinating. That's how it's kind of come up, because it becomes one of, in my opinion, and certainly my wife's opinion, the strongest relationship in season 4 and 5.
I agree.
There was something, a dynamic, the way you and Doug worked together, there was a magic happening there. Were you aware of that at the time? Like, could you feel it in the scenes? Because it's there on screen.
Yeah, there's certain actors, you just look at them and they're present, and so it's a real joy and pleasure to work with them, just because they are so immediately accessible. But I think chemistry is something that people see. Like, I don't know that you can necessarily feel it, but people watching are like, oh my goodness, those two performers have a real chemistry. And that's certainly something that other people saw. I just, like, Doug is he's an extraordinary actor. He's also a beautiful human being. It was such a gift to any opportunity to work with him. And I totally loved the slow burn, old fashioned romance that they wrote for the two characters. Was just really delightful, particularly in this day and age, right?
Yeah.
both the characters are very classy, elegant characters. And it makes sense that love story is written in a way. It's like a 1940s kind of melodramatic love story playing out.
Propriety and decorum and
right.
and really respectful and tentative, and like, you can tell
lots of small moments.
Yeah.
Like, just subtle moments that you guys added into those scenes that really filled it out. So
thank you. No, it was so fun to play. So fun.
Do you miss those Doug Jones hugs? Because I know he's very, like, warming and welcoming, and he's always, like, even to fans, I see him and I've met him once, and he's just such a cheerful person.
With those long arms, I'm sure it's very developing.
He's a big hugger. He's a very I actually just saw him. I was in South Dakota at SuperCon last weekend. So I saw him there, and I saw him also. I was in Vegas for a day. So even though I'm not getting the hugs as frequently, I still have seen him a couple of times this year. Yeah.
That's good.
Now, I think you've kind of answered this already, but your awareness for Star Trek, when you did find out that, I'm in Star Trek, what was was it a franchise that you'd ever engaged with, or was it something you just knew of? Like, what was your history prior to being involved?
It was something that I knew of, but I didn't have a real history with. I've never been a Trekkie. We didn't even have a TV when I was a kid, so I didn't like. I wasn't privy to. No, I'd never watched. And you know what? I didn't want to. Like, I didn't want to research too much because it was already intimidating enough that I was going to be walking on the set of the show that has such a astounding legacy. So I kind of, I kind of relied on intuition. It was very intimidating and very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's such a huge scale, isn't it? I mean, the production, the sets,
The sets are
everything
incredible. Like, even before you get on set, you have to go and they do like full makeup and full prosthetics, and you need to get approval from the from the execs. They have to approve the look. 3 cameras rolling at all time, nothing at all intimidating about that. And they all do this movement thing, like they're all kind of coming in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it was tremendously exciting. And again, like, just the whole notion of playing a Vulcan was I was really, really excited about that aspect of it, for sure.
First time seeing yourself with the ears.
Love the ears. I've considered actually having mine cosmetically altered because I became very partial to the ears.
Yeah.
But seeing yourself in the mirror the first time, and I know you're a well-established actor who's worked a very long time in many different roles, but then there's still that childlike moment of giddiness going, wow, I'm a Vulcan.
Yeah, because you're transformed. You're transformed to another species, another creature, and not only that, like the prosthetics, and then like that first season that I was on the show, Gersha's incredibly beautiful costumes, like the whole with the collars and the whole look. I felt like I was a cross between David Bowie and who would the other person be? I don't know, but it was like it was wild. It was an incredible look, and I felt like super powerful and really sexy, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing about it, hey, and that's a conversation me and my wife would go and would talk about, was like the fact that you immediately, as soon as you're in the show, there's no question that you're the smartest person in the room and the most powerful person in the room. Like, the energy of that character and what you were doing was there. And then I'm going saying to my wife and going, you know, she's pretty great. Like, she's pretty easy to look at. And my wife's going, hell yeah, she's gorgeous. So we were big fans. But I'll tell you what, my biggest compliment I'll give you, and I think I said this too when I met you in Trek Long Island, the thing about what I think you did so well in that performance was, I felt like there were 3 things happening at any one time: what the physical was, what you were intending to say, and what was really going on in your head. And I think you telegraphed that really well, which is in here, just there. Your eyes just hold these just different layered stories that were going on. You were dealing with maybe a political thing in the scene, but you're also dealing with the fact that, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, that I felt at times that as your character, you were also feeling very insecure and quite emotional, because Vulcans can be. And so you're trying to project, and then there's something else going on in the background as well. So, yeah, I just think all of that, what you are able to craft, was something really fresh for that series.
Thank you very much. What a lovely thing to say. Yeah. I think part of what that is that I'm a very emotional person by nature. And so just being asked to play a Vulcan, it's me corseting or living on top of all my natural emotions. So what's filtering through is what I'm trying to repress, right?
Yes.
And I did take liberty from, there was different things in the scripts. I think it was in season 4, there was a scene with Book, and because he was floundering in his feelings of loss about his home planet, and basically asking for advice or soliciting Trina's help and how to deal with that. And she said something to the effect of, it's not that we don't have feelings, it's that we cultivate the ability to live above them, or so I took that to heart in terms of, because there were, I think there's some people out there that think that Vulcans they don't feel. They're simply cerebral entities, and but I think it gives her that much, what you're saying, dimension, if she does, and then she has to filter that through, and there's a different life coming from what she says, as opposed to what you see. That adds complexity to her.
Absolutely.
And then you thread this emotional arc for her in the face. She falls in love.
Mm-hmm.
She had that layer in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so you end up having this recipe of some damn good soup.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sleep is right.
Yeah. So
yeah.
One of the things that I love, I follow you on Instagram. I love your landscape and your nature photos.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I do amateur landscape photography. I have affinity for architecture, and a lot of it's being demolished. And as the city, because I live so close to New York City, it's going through a phase. And one of the things that I loved was the life cycle of a butterfly that you posted. So I was wondering, did you study bio, nature, or anything like that as a minor by any chance, or it was just
No, I did. Like, I remember when I was in high school and university, biology was of great interest to me. But no, the butterfly thing, there's a strong environmentalist in me, and it was, I think, before my daughter was born. Eliana's 15 now. Somebody in our local community, with their daughter, had a monarch chrysalis in a mason jar, and they were waiting for the butterfly to emerge from the chrysalis. So I had this image in my memory banks, and then as Eliana became older, maybe she was, I think we've been doing it for 6 or 7 years now. Although she's abandoned me and I just do it on my own.
That's what happens.
Teenagers.
But we wanted to explore the magic of that, and also because they're now an endangered species, the monarchs, and they're responsible for pollinating so much of our food, and like it's a big deal. We're in trouble if it continues, and they don't bounce back in the numbers. So every summer, when I see the monarchs appear, they come generally, like, I think at the beginning of July. Generally, no, the beginning of August is when they come. So when you see them around, you can go out and there's milkweed everywhere. There's milkweed in our front yard. There's milkweed in our backyard. There's fields of milkweed at the commons. And on the underside of the leaves, you'll find their eggs. So find their eggs and bring them in. And sometimes you'll find a small caterpillar, depending on how far they've progressed. But that's their source of food is the milkweed. So the monarch lays the egg on the milkweed. So when the eggs hatch, there's an immediate source of food. But when left to their own devices in the outdoors, I think the stat is 5% of them make it from egg to butterfly.
Wow,
that's a low,
very low ratio.
Yeah, and there's actually a lot of people. It's called raising monarchs, and so they have special containers that breathe. The containers breathe now. They have, and then once they hatch, you just have to make sure that they have fresh milkweed. And they go through, over the course of a month, they grow so rapidly, they eat so much. It's called their instar phases, and they shed the skin because they grow so fast. They have to molt their skin, and eventually they go into their chrysalis, and then they're in that for about a week before. And you can tell when they're going to emerge. Initially, when they go into chrysalis, it's a beetle. It looks like a piece of jade. It's a remarkable color. And when they get closer to emerging, the chrysalis turns translucent, and you can actually see the wings inside. And I have footage of them going into chrysalis. I have footage of them coming out of the chrysalis. I think it's a miracle. It's like one of nature's miracles, and it's truly like metamorphosis. What a wild, crazy journey. So I've been doing that for a number of summers now. I look forward to that time of year when.
That's fantastic and important work.
Right.
Important work. Yeah. Everything we can do. I mean, I live in a country where we have a lot of endangered species. So
Yeah.
caring for our environment and caring for the species is paramount. It's inbuilt in our culture very much. I think we're generally a nation of animal lovers.
Yeah.
And nature lovers. It's really important. I mean, I remember being a kid and going to the Great Barrier Reef and seeing the coral for the first time and just going, oh, yeah, look at all the pretty colors as a 6-year-old. Then going back up there at 35 and seeing it bleach white.
Oh.
So, because
it's really,
most of the Great Barrier Reef now has lost all its color.
Yeah. It's really alarming. I mean, there's a conversation for another day, but the climate crisis is escalating at such a rapid rate. It's pretty long.
I'll be honest with you, because of the ozone layer, when the ozone layer was at its worst, the hole was all over Australia. So I remember being in the 90s, we knew very early on that the climate crisis was a real thing. You cannot deny the changes that are happening globally to us. And certainly I'm appreciative that our education, because we knew so early on, that our high school education for our youth and everything has been very centered around, look, something we kind of need to do about it, So I think Australia were one of the first that really adopted recycling and things like that. It's our planet, it's our home, and we're not the only species that lives here. So we have a duty of care to all those species who are becoming victimized from it.
Yeah.
For sure.
So now we're going to go into one of the things that another 90s favorite of mine. You got to play a bad guy in Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah.
You were Miss Brown.
Yeah.
And I happened to grow up in that neighborhood. That's not too far from where I used to live. So I used to always watch that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like to be a villain? Because most of the roles that you portray are you're such a nice person. And every time when I met you and I see you on the Instagram, it's always this kindness.
Actually, my true nature. No, it was so fun. It was so fun. Like that whole. I remember that whole audition process distinctly too, because they brought me in for another role and they kept reading me. They kept auditioning me, and then when my agent called and said, "You've been booked for the remake of Pelham 1, 2, 3. You're playing Mr. Brown." I don't even think I read for Mr. Brown. So, I got a big promotion.
Yeah.
And I was working with big shots that I had.
The cast in that movie.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah. Johnny Wahlberg.
Richard Schiff. You've got Lorraine Bracco. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a crazy, crazy big deal. And the director was Felix Alcala. Is that, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And he was such a lovely human being. And because we shot so much in this ghost subway station, he had a portable jukebox. So he, in between setups, he'd always be playing music as we, lived underground for, no, it was super fun. I was pretty young, and what was I carrying? An AK-47.
47, yeah. And you're blonde.
A lot of dead arms at the end of the day.
This is over.
I think that was the first time I ever got squibbed too. So it was there was a lot.
What's that sensation like? That kind of startling the first time, isn't it? Because you feel.
It was a long time ago, so I barely remember. But I just remember, it was planted on me, and then it would go off and when I had to fall back and blah, 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 blah. But no, it was all very exciting. And again, just like playing a Vulcan president, playing a villain, it's like, stretch me, ask me to play something that I don't normally get asked to play. It's so fun.
Yeah.
And there's
looking at your IMDb, you've had quite a diverse role range.
Right.
Do you feel that sometimes there are certain roles that you keep getting cast in as such?
No, I would say that's probably more true for theater that you are cast. Although I've played a really delicious array of characters in theater as well. Yeah. I think it's really largely up to the director's imagination, isn't it?
Yeah,
how they.
That's true.
But certain people get pigeonholed as in certain parts, but.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't done enough film and TV that people say, "Oh no, that's the character. That's the kind of character that she plays." No, I've played a lot of.
Yeah, I think those days have been typecast too. I mean, they would still exist as you've mentioned, but back in the day, like, if you're a TV actor, you were typecast back in the day. I'm talking 70s, 80s, being a Generation X and being that old. I do remember, like, you guys that couldn't break. These days, you can interswap. You can do movies, TV, quite organically.
So I don't have to play Vulcan presidents from here on out. I can.
That's right.
No,
No. Yeah, I'm not going to ask you the question, but I'd be shocked if we don't get to see you again. So I'm not going to.
I hope so. I hope we do something with her. She's a fantastic
character. Around.
Yeah,
and I'm sure the kids can learn something in Starfleet Academy from the president. I'm sure she'd have some very wise words.
Yeah.
I'm a massive Gene Hackman fan. Gene Hackman fan. And I know you had a small role in Extreme Measures. Did you get to ever talk to him or
No.
No,
I've had a couple of those gigs where there's like with Hugh Grant, because there was a bunch of us that were glorified extras in the OR with Hugh Grant and Sarah Jessica Parker, and they're busy doing their own thing. Like we're just we're the wallpaper, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you just kind of try to keep your head down and stay out of people's way.
Yeah, and you don't want to upset anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've worked pretty steadily over the last few decades, not only in doing guest roles and that, but a lot of theatre work, correct?
Yeah. Typically what happens is, most of my theatre work has been at festivals. I've been lucky that, like, where I live in Niagara-on-the-Lake, there's a very large theatre festival called the Shaw Festival. And generally, they're longer contracts. So you're employed for 6, 7, 8 months of the year. So then what you do is in the fall and winter, you try to pick up a little bit of film and TV work.
Right. Then, fill in the gap.
Yeah. And then just before the pandemic, I worked on a show called Impulse that was made for YouTube Red. And they brought me back as a regular for their second season. And then that spun into like 5 years of film and TV, which spun into Star Trek. So I was away from the theater for a few years. And then I just returned in 2023. I did a season of acting. And then this last year, I actually went on a new adventure and I did an intern directorship at the same festival. So I've been expanding my toolkit in the world of theater. Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And were you a theater kid? Did you start in theater young? Let's take you right back. Only a couple of years. But take it right back to, the entry point.
I on a whim at 13 asked for an acting class, and my grandmother and my mom got me a few sessions. It was sorry, my daughter just came home. That was the door. And I had a really good teacher, and that's when I got the bug. So I decided I wanted to be an actor when I was 13 years old. And I went to the high school I went to didn't really specialize, not until 11, 12. So there was a special drama program at my high school in Vancouver. And from there, I had very good grades as a student. So all my teachers encouraged me to go to university, which I've never used my degree. But because you can, when you're pursuing acting, you can go to a conservatory program, which you don't get a degree, but you're greatly immersed in the specific art that you're pursuing. So I got my BFA in fine arts from York University, and and then did a lot of waitressing.
A lot of that, isn't it? It seems to be
did a lot of waitressing, did a lot of theater for free, and it wasn't actually until I booked the Hugh Grant film that I made enough money to produce my own play. It was a one-woman show that I produced in the mid-90s, and finally, after producing that show, people started hiring me in theater. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Wow.
So, your process being a theater actress and the process of being an actor on a TV and film, does that alter for you? Because you hear stories of actors going, well, it's a very different environment because subtlety is the key in TV and film, but when it's theater, you're projecting to the back row.
Yeah, so the prep is the same for me in terms of looking at the script, thinking about character, thinking about objective, thinking about all those things, relationships, what you want overall. Definitely the style or the approach. The two mediums are vastly different. I remember when I first started auditioning for film and TV, I wouldn't stay on my mark. I didn't understand. You had to stay in frame. And of course, my gestures were too big, and vocally I was too big. So yeah, over time you learn, and there's certain actors that just work in film and TV and they actually have a different style altogether. This is a generalization, but some actors, I'm sure you've seen the school of acting where there's just kind of really naturalistic kind of mumbling and there's not a whole lot.
Yes.
So my theater experience definitely informs the kind of film and TV actor I am. Not that I wouldn't play a character that was like that, but I do argue that having a theater background is extremely beneficial in terms of Star Trek, because you're playing a different kind of creature with it's all text based, it's all text driven, very large passages of text. You have to be very grounded and know exactly what you're saying. And so I think that I think there's a lot of actors that work on the show that do come from theater backgrounds. So
makes sense too, because you're also generally dealing with big ideas and big themes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
There is a lot of drama.
Big stakes. Yeah. Really large stakes.
Yeah. So it is probably really beneficial to come from that kind of, because I'm sure you've probably done every Shakespeare play at this point.
I've done a few, not all.
Yeah, I've done a few. Probably haven't done one. But that, and which is to me fundamentally important, especially if you're going to be an actor, which I'm not, but I would suggest that, if you're going to be an actor, you probably need to learn from the best, right? And if you're going to build a skill set, that's the way to build a skill set, through his text.
Yeah.
Because you're saying lines. I mean, when I first kind of read Shakespeare, I had no idea what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
And I needed it to be explained to me. And in a way, there's a familiarity with Star Trek, right? If you're from the outside and don't know technobabble, will be like, what did they just say? What is going on here?
Yeah, it's its own world for sure. Yeah.
So you directed a theater show called A Recluse and His Guest, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
How was it to be on the director's side?
Oh my God, it was
to tell people what to do rather than
yeah, it was one of the most exhilarating things I've ever done. I when I entered the program, I wasn't sure if I was like people say, are you transitioning into directing? So I didn't know if I was transitioning or if I was just exploring a new world. And by the end of it, I was like, no, I'm transitioning. Like, not that I won't act anymore, but it was, and I think like also, I've acted for almost 30 years, and it feels like a natural progression. But yeah, it's an incredible learning more about the medium. Like because as actors, you arrive on day one of rehearsal and you're like, yeah, here we go, let's get started. But meanwhile, there's a glacier under you, because the designers have started speaking to the director like almost a year before. Like right now, directors and designers are talking about what will begin rehearsals in February and March at the Shaw Festival. So, and they're figuring out like, because every play is in a different space, and they want to, what era are they? Is it going to be contemporary? Is it how are we going to establish the world of the play on the stage? And what are the actors going to wear? And blah, 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 blah. So,
it's a whole industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I completely underestimated how exciting it would be to collaborate with designers. It's very, very interesting process. Working with actors is such a I've always had a high regard for what it is that actors do, but that's only increased over the course of the year. That people come into a room and they lend their faith, their talent, their imaginations, their heart, their passion, it's all on it is all an extension of faith, because you don't know until the show is actually on the stage what it is going to be. It could be a colossal failure, or it could be magnificent, you know, and completely take off and transform the audience that encounters it. But you just enter the space with your words on a page, and you dive in. It's a really remarkable thing that happens. And somehow I didn't fully fathom what it was as one of the, I think actors are very myopic out of survival. Like it's an act of survival. So we're like, my character, this is what I'm doing, da, 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 da. But when you start to see the whole thing, it's like, wow, this is extraordinary. Yeah, and it was terrifying because I'd never done that before, because you have a bunch of people in a room that are looking to you to make decisions. And, you know, you have to be well researched and well informed and be able to articulate things in ways that, and every actor is unique. So you need to find a unique language for each actor. Like if you could,
they've all got their own process, don't they? Generally.
Yeah. Like one actor can receive images and go, oh, that image makes sense to me. Whereas another one will go, what the hell are you talking about? Just tell me what I'm playing. Right. And so and then you're juggling all different personalities and deciding when you can give somebody information and when you need to wait. And then at the end, you know, for what I was doing, it wasn't a play in the season. There's 2 intern directors each year, and you assistant direct on 2 productions. And then the second half of the program, you select a 1-act play. So I chose Tennessee Williams, A Recluse and His Guest. You cast it from within the company, and you're given a whole 46 hours to rehearse it.
Wow.
Really of 1 week. And you rehearse from 10 to 12, 4 days a week. So you're given 8 hours of rehearsal a week. Like, it's insane. So the rest
exhilarating though, right? Like, it must be exhilarating.
It was completely exhilarating. But like all the rest of the hours of the week, you're like, oh my God, how can I accomplish what I need to accomplish in 8 hours a week? Right.
Yeah. It's panic mode. Right.
Yeah. And then it's given a 3-show presentation for a company and for people in the industry. And it was a wild, wonderful experience, and I learned a tremendous amount. And now I'm just like madly writing letters to artistic directors saying, "Please talk to me, please."
All right, contact
well,
us.
if they're smart, they will contact you.
If they're smart, they definitely will. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And then you can come back to Star Trek and direct the stuff.
I don't know about directing film and TV, but
you never know.
With theater for sure. Yeah.
One of the things I'm not sure you would have been, maybe you were aware of, but it's kind of added a third dimension for what you do publicly, is being involved with connecting with fans in conventions and traveling around like the country and being able to meet the fans. Was that something, did you foresee early on when you realized it was Star Trek? Oh, well, I'm going to be able to get... How do you find that experience, traveling around and being at the cons?
It's a mixed experience, but not because, like, I have to say, all the fans that I've met are lovely, lovely, generous, enthusiastic, beautiful human beings. Like, it's what an incredible gift to be on the receiving end of that beautiful, beautiful energy. That people care so passionately about the show and the characters and the relationships, and that they come all the way to meet you and tell you that's like, you know, I would never take that for granted. That's an extraordinary thing. Traveling, you know, like, I'm not really a Vegas person. Like, I get off the plane in Vegas and I'm like, oh my God, this place, it kind of scares the shit out of me. It's an entirely fake world, and that, like, people are awake like every hour of the, you know, like the whole thing. And living in a hotel is not my style at all. And so, you know, but on the flip side of that, last year I went to Italy. I went to a small town on the east coast of Italy.
Ooh.
Sorry?
That's amazing.
Oh, it was beautiful. Yeah. So, but no, you don't anticipate that at all. And certainly, like, like I knew that Star Trek had a huge fan base. But you know, when you step on the set for one episode, you're like, no, this is, you know, this is whatever. But once they brought me back a lot, and it was actually Doug who introduced me to his representative, Derek Mackey. He said, you know, if you're interested in doing this kind of work, I can introduce you to my rep, and that's, you know, proved to be a wonderful relationship. And yeah, no, I very much enjoyed this. It's wild and remarkable and very charming aspect to the whole franchise.
Well, it's probably another way that you get, you know, you have the immediate reaction when you do a play, people responding to your work right there. But what a gift also to be able to have, you know, people respond to your work, get to spend time with you. Like me, a big blubbering mess, go, oh my God, we love you. Me and my wife think you're amazing. And all that. You're like, okay, can I get a photo? And off we go. Essentially, I would think it's a lovely, special thing because Star Trek fans in general, we're positive people. It's about hope and it's about love. Like, in a way, Star Trek at its core is love is just scattered throughout it. And the fans really kind of take that to heart. And you find a lot of us come from, you know, we've all had struggles in our lives in some way or another. And Star Trek becomes this unifying factor where you can, you know, look at that and see it better tomorrow and be able to engage with those people who give us hope, who help us feel good about something or take a distraction away. It's special for us. And, you know, I'm always thrilled to, I knew the moment I met you too, that you really enjoy that. You enjoy the fact of getting connected with your fans.
Very special. And like, as you're just talking about it, the word that occurs to me is family. And that, like, I mean, family was also part of the language that was used on the set. Sinead was a big advocate for everybody feeling like they're part of a family, and you feel the same vibe when you go to the conventions for sure.
Yeah.
Have you had
Sorry, you about to say? I bet we're asking the same question. Maybe. You go, Joe. I'm hogging the camera.
No. It's I love you, brother. It's all good.
They're gonna duke it out.
No. No, I was always wondering, like, have you had a fan that says, "Hey, you've changed or you've saved me from," because I find that a lot of people look to Trek to kind of take a moment out of their own personal lives and the drama that they're going through to live in the drama that's on television. And a lot of them and a lot of us connect with characters such as your character on Discovery. Did you ever have anybody say, "Hey, you know, your character really made a difference in my life. I'm going to run for president"?
I think some people have remarked on how the relationship between Trina and Saru has really, really spoke to them and really moved them. I don't know that anybody said that I've changed their life. I've been blown away by, there was one young woman in particular who was in cosplay for Trina. And, you know, she said, "Can I ask you some questions?" And I said, "Sure." And she ended up sending me a bunch on Instagram, and her vast knowledge of the Trek universe and like the timelines and the characters. I'm like, I can't answer you.
That's great.
You have an encyclopedic knowledge of this world, and I'm just like a day player.
We actually do a podcast with a guy like that. I can't quote things from an episode 40 years ago. I got no chance.
Yeah.
But we work with someone like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty wonderful that you can retain that knowledge.
And so you realize in those moments the impact that the character has had on them and how they've connected for whatever reason with the character. So it feels, you know, profound. But I don't know that in those exact words somebody has said, like, you know, you've saved my life or you've changed my life, or but there's definitely been, as Doug would say, a lot of love.
Yeah. I think what we really, in general, too, what we're good at is embracing those who become part of the Star Trek family. So you were talking about how Sonequa embraced, and we used the word family. I would say, Tara, that's immediate from the fan base as well. You just become part of our, you know, a new member of our family for what we watch every week. So it's not something you see in every franchise.
No,
you know? Yeah.
No, and like for the first when we were still doing table reads, I don't know if they are now post pandemic, but usually before you go to camera, everybody would gather in a big boardroom and you'd read the script together in the same room for the first time, and Sonequa would come around the room to all the newcomers and say, "Hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're here." Like who does that, right? Like I watched on sets where the leads were like, they won't even look at you, like they're so bored. They're like, whatever, like what do we, And she was like there welcoming you, embracing you, and excited to welcome you into the family, right? So the whole vibe on that set is unlike anything I've ever experienced in my life.
Wow.
From the cast and the crew, the whole team. Yeah.
Yeah. We've spoken to a couple of day players who have worked on Trek as well, and one of the comments one of them said, "This is like the thing is at this point, even a lot of the crew have grown up with Trek, so that the guy behind the camera is a massive nerd, like literally, like everybody is in on it, and that's something again, not 60 years we're coming up to of Star Trek content that is made, and it is stronger now than it has been in a long time. And Discovery, it was a big part of that. It's a big part of it, even though it got controversial. Even I had some storyline issues with it early on. Man, it stuck the landing, and it just becomes so important that now the next generation is getting on board. So you're going to start to see the youngsters, the little kids, dressed up as Navarre and hassling their guitar for autographs. That's the challenge out there, folks. If you are out doing Halloween this year and you see a picture of a Navarre in a Halloween costume, you need to send it to Tara immediately. I'm sure.
Yeah, we want to see all the Tarinas.
Yeah,
all the little Tarinas at the door. Ding dong. Oh, Tarina, hold on.
Trick or treating. So what have you got coming up in the future, Tara?
Yeah.
What's something you're excited about that you're doing in your career?
Well, this directing thing, I'm now, returning to my 20-year-old actor self when I was begging people to let me through the door to act. And now I've begun the same journey for directing. It's a bit of a scary time. The theater has not returned, has not bounced back post-pandemic. I think that's that's partially because people were staying home and not going out. But I think it's also the cost of living, and I think it's also that we're so technically oriented that theater isn't. It's not a big part of the appetite.
That's an interesting thing, being a Generation Xer. I remember I was a big movie nerd, being able to keep up with everything. Now it's impossible. We are inundated with so much content.
Yes.
That you're right. It is like, oh, do I get dressed up and make a big, thing we go out, or do I just put on Netflix?
Yeah.
And that makes me sad because I'm also someone who used to love going. I mean, me and the wife love musicals. I haven't been to a musical now in about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And, because they're not coming here too. That's the other thing. We're not seeing, I suppose it's the snake eating its own tail. If you're not making any more, if productions are not going up, and the reason they're not going up is people are not going to other productions. It's a scary time, I would assume. Yeah.
So I'm doing one of the Christmas shows at the Shaw Festival. And then I'm not sure what the new year will hold. I expect I'll be auditioning for film and TV, but really what my focus is on is exploring this new world of directing and forging new connections and also finding new opportunities of learning. I still have a lot of learning to do. So who knows?
Yeah, that's wonderful. And let's hope that, and I actually we're not hope. We look forward to you getting those opportunities because it will happen for you.
We're excited for you.
And it'll be great. And may might not be able to fly out and see you in theater, but I hope you still get to do a bit of TV and film as well.
Yeah, no, I expect there'll be acting and directing, and there'll be theater and there'll be TV. It's just the way of the world right now is that you have to piecemeal together your living because there's a bit of a drought in film and TV. My husband has devoted this year to film and TV, and it's been slow for him. And as well as companies are in panic mode, theater companies, and the theater companies are getting smaller. They're producing fewer plays. They're producing plays with smaller casts. So like everybody's kind of, it's a hard time to be a self-employed artist.
The other issue, I think what scares me about that too is the next generation, which theatre is the building blocks for so many young performers that if it's smaller companies, that's less opportunities. That's not good.
Right.
You know, let's hope that kind of resolves itself. And you know what? Things are cyclical, aren't they? In the
They
world,
are, yeah. No,
so
theaters had to go underground before, like within the puritanical era, it was illegal to act, and so it'll bounce back. Who knows when? But yeah,
there's a power about, and I think once you go and see plays or musicals, there's a power of being in the same room as a performer that can't be matched on a television or even on a film screen, because you feel the energy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the strength of stuff like that, people will come back around. And
I hope you're right.
And then you'll be pulling your hair out, Tara, going like, I need a break.
I need to go back to Italy. Tara, thank you so much for
my
joining
pleasure.
Captain's
Corner. It was really lovely to chat. Yeah,
absolutely. You're absolutely fantastic, and I'll definitely see you at a con in the future.
Awesome.
I know there's a bunch coming up in the future, but wherever you are, we'll be sure to come by and snap another pic and say hello.
I look forward to it.
Yes, and we hope that you keep posting on Instagram, because we love following the ins and outs of what you're doing.
I'll try to post some more landscapes for you.
Yes, and the nature. I love it. I love it. It makes it. I look forward to your posts. It's one of those things that what's doing here. So
thanks. Yeah, so, well, like you, I'm an amateur photographer. I just I enjoy playing with the camera. So
it's great.
Yeah.
It's
what's your favorite type of camera?
I use my stinking iPhone.
Oh wow!
You use your iPhone.
I use my iPhone. Like I haven't. If I had more hours in the day, I'd try to figure out how to use a camera. But
it comes great though. I don't know which phone you have.
iPhone photos now. I mean, I'm a photographer for my business. Like I have my own business. I do a lot of corporate videos around Australia and all that kind of thing. And I found that I come to a point now technologically where, you know, I use really good lenses, really good cameras, and expensive equipment I bought over the years for the business. And now my iPhone is starting to match.
Yeah.
So every time I do a photo gig now, I'm using my camera, but I'm also quickly grabbing the iPhone and starting to see comparisons.
Whoa.
You know? Yeah.
That's not an amateur photographer's camera.
Yeah, no, this is amateur. Totally. Serious. This is very believable. Yeah. I think you've got
is that digital? It's digital, right?
Oh yeah.
Everything's digital now.
There's no more film cameras anymore.
Oh, there are. My daughter, who actually collects retro cameras, like all the way back to the 1930s. That's her and her partner's hobby. You could still get it. Kodak still makes you film.
Yeah. So where do you get the film developed? Like who does that these days?
That's the harder part. We have here in Australia, there's only a few locations left. Like you have to go into the city or something like that. They're still around. I wish I would be able to have a developing
studio.
With
the clothesline where you hang your photos on the
right.
Well, I was just me and the wife are now like thinking we're going. I think we want a record player. I think we're going to start collecting records.
We have one. Absolutely.
So I'm like, I think it's time for us to go back to our. Because we were talking about it one day. I was talking about
go back to the musicals, go back to the theater, and get yourself a record player.
There
we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Back to a simpler time, as I say. You know, being a Generation Xer. You know, we are one of the fortunate generations who have been right dead center from more simpler times to the technical revolution. And we've been privileged enough to be right at the center. We've also been tasked with having to adapt every step of the way. Which we've done because we're an awesome generation, of course, aren't we, Tara? So there we go.
I mean, the typewriter is making a huge comeback. Taylor Swift made that happen.
Oh, I won't do that. I won't be using no typewriter.
That's how I learned how to type with a typewriter. One of those ginormous ones, and it was. So I'd love it. But yes, thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to seeing what you're going to be doing next. We're going to be sharing all of those wonderful things that you post with everyone. And of course, we'll be sharing this and tagging you on the socials so that people can be aware of this amazing interview. We thank you again. We can't be more grateful enough, and we will see you soon. So, peace and long life. Live long and
I better
prosper.
do it too then.
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah.
oh.
Take care.
All right.
Thanks, Tara.